Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping right into something absolutely wild. A fascinating parallel universe documented in ancient Islamic texts and esoteric grimoires. We're going to take an anthropological approach to visualize exactly what this highly structured, incredibly complex realm looks like, especially since it supposedly exists right alongside our own.
So, what lives just beyond our sight? It's a question that's pretty much captivated human imagination for millennia, right? We're diving deep into the source materials that describe a totally hidden dimension. We're talking about a world teeming with life, politics, and power struggles, yet it's completely imperceptible to the human eye under normal circumstances.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to start with the name itself. The word jinn comes from an Arabic root that literally means to cover, conceal, or hide from view. So the very name of these entities defines their absolute core characteristic. They are hidden beings. It's actually kind of like the word for an unborn child hidden in the womb, or the darkness of the night that covers a landscape. The jinn are intrinsically veiled from us. Okay, here's our game plan for exploring this unseen world. We'll start with 1, the unseen dimension. Then 2, the biology of the jinn. After that, we'll hit 3, a parallel society. 4, their tribes and categories. And finally 5, crossing the veil. All right, section 1, the unseen dimension. A hidden world. We're treating these ancient texts basically as an explorer's guide to a space superimposed directly onto ours. You know, the esoteric sources describe a universe where empty space isn't actually empty. Check out this quote. "I say that there are daemons who dwell with us here on earth and others who dwell above us in the lower air." Ancient texts insist these beings dwell right here on earth with us, literally inhabiting the air around us. They're said to love remote areas, deserts, mountains, the seas, basically occupying the desolate spaces that we humans leave behind. Section 2, Biology of the Jinn. What are they made of? Let's get into their physical makeup. The texts reveal a massive core biological difference between us and them. While humans are described as being created from dense clay and black mud, which makes us visible and, well, relatively slow, the jinn are created from an essential, smokeless, scorching fire. This fiery origin is exactly what makes them invisible to us and grants them extreme, almost unbelievable speeds. But here's the crazy part. Despite being completely invisible to us, the sources insist they are highly physical. They exist in this delicate, fiery state. They have a pulse, they breathe, and they have intense emotions fueled by this fire. Actually, one text even notes that extreme anger in humans is essentially a fiery reaction mimicking the natural state of the jinn. How wild is that? Moving right along to section 3, a parallel society, mirrors of humanity. So how is their invisible world structured? Surprisingly, it's remarkably like ours. The theological texts ground these entities in super relatable concepts. They aren't just mindless floating spirits. They have free will, meaning they can be entirely good, pure evil, or completely neutral. Because of this, they practice different religions. And just like us, they're held accountable on the Day of Judgment. They form complex communities, they follow kings, and get this, they even keep their own livestock and animals for riding and milking. And speaking of livestock, the texts drop some incredibly specific details about how they survive. Since they live in a parallel state, their food comes from the remnants of ours. The quote says, "Every bone on which the name of Allah is recited is your provision, and the dung of camels is fodder for your animals." So the bones we leave behind become their meals, and our animal dung serves as fodder for their unseen livestock. It's a total recycling of our world. And just like human societies, the jinn have complex political hierarchies and royalty. Esoteric practitioners and sorcerers throughout history have documented the names of these leaders, constantly attempting to contact or command figures like the Red King, known as Amar, or King Maymun. The grimoires read almost like political registers of a hidden kingdom, detailing exactly who rules which tribe and how they can be summoned. Section 4, Tribes and Categories, Types of Jinn. Let's break down the specific taxonomy of these entities. The sources actually provide a highly organized hierarchy for all of this. If a jinn lives peacefully alongside humans in a house, they're called an amir. If they interact specifically with children, they're arwah. The wicked, malicious ones who incite evil, those are the shaitan. If they're even worse, extremely strong, causing physical illness, they're amarid.
And the most elite, the most powerful, and notoriously difficult to control are the Ifrit, which sorcerers often target for heavy tasks. But esoteric history also details some significantly darker, terrifying variations, like the ghouls. According to the texts, ghouls are an exclusively female type of jinn living out in desolate deserts. They supposedly shapeshift into sandstorms or beautiful maidens to attack travelers. Eerily enough, the texts claim they feed on corpses to literally build their physical forms, bite after bite, actually taking on the humanoid shape of the deceased. Yeah, pretty unsettling.
Which brings us to the climax of our explainer. Section 5, Crossing the Veil. When worlds collide. What actually happens when their parallel world bleeds into ours? Well, the texts describe very specific, tangible ways the jinn cross over. They can shapeshift, often taking the form of aggressive animals like snakes, scorpions, or black dogs. They also engage in what's called waswasa, which is this constant, silent whispering into human minds to exploit emotional weaknesses. In extreme cases, the sources describe physical possession, where a jinn literally manipulates a human's nervous system. And get this, modern Ruqyah texts even cite unexplained disturbances in electronic devices as a sign of their presence. For folks actively treating possession, the physical symptoms of a breached veil are heavily documented. We're talking about seeing fast-moving black shadows out of the corner of your eye, severe sleep paralysis, that sudden heavy feeling of being watched in a totally empty room, unexplained panic attacks, and strangely, a literal sensation of burning under the soles of your feet. Now, while some people experience this crossing of the veil completely by accident, sorcerers and magicians have deliberately tried to breach it for centuries. The grimoires outline really strict rituals for this. It involves going out into solitary ruins at night, burning specific sweet fumes, using bizarre instruments made of peculiar woods and animal guts, and reciting ancient, complex incantations. All of this is designed to bind and command these fiery spirits to do their bidding. Ultimately, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the extreme asymmetry of this relationship. As the texts explicitly state, they are usually invisible to humans, but humans do appear clearly to jinn. It is a deeply unsettling one-way mirror. We are completely exposed to them, walking right through their shared spaces, while they remain perfectly hidden behind the veil of their smokeless fire. Which leaves us with this final thought. We've explored the biology, the society, and the rules of this unseen dimension based on centuries of textual history. So I have to ask, the next time you feel a sudden chill in an empty room or think you see a shadow dart by the corner of your eye, who is really sharing that space with you? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep your curiosity alive.